Welcome to my channel. My name is Habinder Sikka. I'm President-elect of Rotary Club of San Jose East, Evergreen. As part of our robotics initiative, we are trying to set up high school club for self-driving race cars. And we are hoping to start our annual competition in April 2019 for high school students to compete against each other. The project is to build a 1/16 scale race cars and add logic to it, hardware and software, to make it drive itself on a track. The first thing, the concept is based on already a popular donkey car concept. The website for that has all the instructions, and what we are going to do in this video is show how easy it is for a student to actually assemble that car with the right parts, and how to download the software onto it, and then how to train the car. So now I'll show you the hardware which is required in order to assemble this car. The first main thing is this car itself. This is the car. The car you will get will be different than the Trasex. It's basically still the 1/16 scale. The main thing, any car which you will actually can use is the 1/16 car scale car, which has an electronic speed control and a battery. This car has this battery with the battery charger, but your car will actually have a different battery and a battery charger. There should be two controls, one for the speed and one for the steering. The other parts we have includes the Raspberry Pi, Raspberry Pi Model B. We have a PWM for the motor and speed controller. We have a fisheye camera. We have an Anchor battery to power the Raspberry Pi while it is attached to the car. You need some jumper wires, and you should be set to go. The other thing you need is the micro card. We are using the SanDisk 32 GB micro card. You need to go to the donkeycard.com and follow the instructions to actually download the image on it. So if you look at, you have to go to view instruction, go to the install software. So first thing is, in order to get the Raspberry Pi working, you need to actually get the image here. The easiest one is to actually download the image directly for Ubuntu. Okay, so Ubuntu is the easiest way to actually download the image onto your Ubuntu, and then from there you can make a startup disk using the 32 GB. So the easiest way is to basically download the pre-built zipped disk image for Ubuntu. So you can actually see the RPI Raspberry Pi 3B and 3B Plus, or for RPI 0. So you want 3B because we are using the 3B. So you can actually go there. You can, there's a problem, but you can go and directly download this onto your Ubuntu. So we already have the Ubuntu image. So what you can do is you open the startup, make startup disk on Ubuntu. So as soon as you see that, it'll say that, okay, it has read this Ubuntu and then you can actually just do make startup disk, and it should make the startup disk on it. So using the same method, we actually has created an image on this micro SD card, 32 GB, and we have this Raspberry Pi. What you need to do is basically insert this SD card into the Raspberry Pi. This goes this way, push it all the way, and here it is. So now the Raspberry Pi has the SD card with the image on it. First thing is to connect your Raspberry Pi first to the anchor battery after charging it fully. So you have to charge this fully, then connect it to the Raspberry Pi through this port and cable. You have the HDMI connected to the display. You have two USB port used to connect to your keyboard and to your mouse, okay? And you bring it up. On its first boot, it should basically show something like this. So first thing is, once it boot up, you log in with Pi, and the password is Raspberry. You can change the password later. First thing you do is define your name for your Raspberry Pi by doing sudo vi/etc hostname. Okay, and you define your Raspberry Pi here. I actually have it as Bunty Pi RSC. The other file you need to change is sudo vi/etc hosts, and there also, wherever you actually have the original host name, you replace it with your own host name. Here I actually change it to Bunty Pi RC. The first thing you do after changing the host name is to go and set up your Wi-Fi. So you do sudo vi/etc wpa supplant.config.conf, and you can see that there will be a network entry over there. You need to add SSID to your Wi-Fi name. My Wi-Fi here is Neighborhood Commissioner District 8 D8. You have to add your password, but here you have to actually add password in real letters and whatever numbers or characters you have, not XXX, is just to basically not make my password visible. Then you have to give priority to your Wi-Fi network, and you create your mobile phone network, and that should be the priority one, so that whenever your mobile phone network is on, it actually go on to that instead of your home Wi-Fi. You have to actually give a password for your mobile phone, and then you save the file with X. So next thing we want to do is to basically assemble our hardware. So as part of our hardware assembly, we have to actually have the car, and we want to basically have some sort of platform on this car that can hold all these parts. So what I've done is actually gone to a shop and cut this rectangular pieces which fits this. So depending on the car you're using, you can actually go funky with the assembly of how you want to create your platform to give a characteristic of who you are, what your team is, what your team represent, so that it's easy for you to personalize that car. So next thing what you need to do is basically mount this Raspberry Pi onto this board. I generally only use 2 screws, but you can use 4 to mount this. So I use a screw with the washer. You can tighten it later. So you can easily tie it with a simple screwdriver. So these two should keep this in place while the car is moving. The next thing is to actually mount this PWM also onto this board with the same 2 screws. We should be able to mount this in place too. Okay, now both of them are actually in place. We can put this anchor battery with the 2-way tape. So you have to make sure that the battery size is actually on the same side, or if it is on the reverse, I think I like to keep it on the reverse side because by doing this I can actually reduce the length of the wire, which is loose on this. Okay, so I was able to mount this. So next thing is to actually attach our fisheye camera to the Raspberry Pi. So the one thing is to make sure that the grooves, the connection actually goes this way. So you have to bring it out for this to go in. And then you tight it. And you have to actually hold it in place on this one. That should hold it in place. So this way the camera is mounted. Now it's attached to the Raspberry Pi. PWM is mounted. The next thing which is left is to make connection between the PWM and the Raspberry Pi. Let's look at this picture to understand what the IOs on this we are going to use. The IOs on this Raspberry Pi that we are going to use are the VCC, which is the VDD, the volt, the SDA, the SCL, and then we are going to leave this fourth one blank, and then there's a ground. So we are going to use these 4 bits, the VDD, the SDA, the SCL, and the ground. Similarly, on our PWM, we want to use the same port. On the PWM, you can actually see which one is the VCC, SDA, SCL, and the ground. Okay, it's the corner one here. This one is the ground. Then you have leave one, then you have SCL, then you have SDA, and then you have this VDD or VCC. So that's what we are going to do. So we are going to take these jumper wires. So we are going to connect first. We have seen the ground as the 5th from the corner. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this one is the ground. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this one is the ground. And on this, the last one is the ground. So we put it in the last one. Then we know that leaving one from the ground, we have SCL. So let's leave one from the ground and move green to SCL. On this side, the SCL is 1, leaving one from ground is SCL. Here also is the same. Then the next one, yellow, we basically move to SDA, which is next to SCL. And then orange, we are moving to VCC, which is next to yellow. Similarly, on this side, green we put into the SCL, so the yellow goes into SDA, which is the second, and orange in VCC, which is the first one. So that completes our connections. So next thing what we want to do is do our final assembly, which is to basically put the battery in our car and connect it. We place the battery in place by So putting the battery in place. So the final thing is to basically assemble the car. So put the battery in place, and then we put this, but before we do that, we want to extend our but for extension you need to make sure that the white goes into white and the red goes into red and black goes into black. Similarly on this side we want to do the same. So we extended these two so that we can properly mount it and bring this out from the center hole. We have quite a bit of leeway where to add it. So what we are going to do is you need to make sure that the signal, which is the white one, okay, so the white one, which is the signal, is on the left side because the ground is the corner here. So the black is the ground. So it's written over here which one is the ground. Middle one is the V plus, the voltage. So we use the first two channel. So that means channel 0 and channel 1. And by this, now our car is in place. So we can actually attach the battery here. So as soon as you power the battery, if your connections are proper, then the light on PWM is also on. So that means the PWM is getting powered by the Raspberry Pi. So its light is on. So that means the connection is proper on the voltage side at least. So next thing is to verify whether your Raspberry Pi is accessible from your laptop. So on your laptop, you will do SSH Pi at your Raspberry Pi name, which for my case is Bunte Pi RC .locals. So what you are doing is you're doing SSH Pi is your login and your host name for your Raspberry Pi, whatever is .local. So that means on the local network, it will actually look for that host name. And it finds that host name, so it asks for your password. If it doesn't find the host name, it won't ask for your password. It'll say whatever error it is, that the host name not found. And then you actually basically give whatever password you have. Once you give your password, you basically can see that it actually you logged into your computer on your Raspberry Pi. You can change your password by changing the password files. The default password for your Pi is Raspberry. The first thing we want to do is to calibrate by using donkey calibrate and channel 0 or 1. So we are doing channel 1 and we want to see how far the steering can go. So you can see the steering moved on the left side, and we can type 500, it goes all the way to the right side. So you actually then do slow increments. You do 510, 490 to see 490 still moves. So that means 500 is the last on the right side. On the lower side, you can see whether 260 make a change. No. Okay, so let's see if 260 make a change, 250 make a change. No. 260, 270, Okay, a little bit. 270 or 260 is the range on the left side. Okay, next thing is to calibrate the channel 1. We can actually go 490, go 300, okay, 310, 320, 350, 340, 330, 320. So 320, 330 is the when it is actually stopping. And on the high side we have seen 500, it actually go nuts. This car can go up to 30 miles easily per hour, so it's too fast. So the final thing is that you go to the sudo vi config.py in your my car donkey car directory which you have created, and you can look for throttle. Okay, so you can actually see throttle. You need to basically change it to channel 0. Throttle is channel 1, so steering is channel 0. So you basically using that, you do the reading what you have got from your calibration and put it over there. So you can close and save it. And the next thing you need to do is try to see if you can manage the drive with your own phone. So you do python manage.py drive, and then you control it with your phone. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions once you basically start using it, you let me know.